Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rod Shop. Got a video for you today. We're going to just kind of go over a little bit of wiring on what I did to route it on the 78. Again, we went and got a painless system, and I'm not promoting anybody's product, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying they're a good investment, because the last thing you want to do is put something like this back in your car. This thing is junk. 78. So until now, do the math. That's how old it is. So we put a new painless in it, and it's basically for factory setup. We got one so you can add a few accessories to it or whatever you want, but pretty simple. I'll kind of go through the doghouse, show you how I routed it. I mean, the doghouse is just, it's what I love about these old cars, man. They're just so simple. It ain't like these new cars where you got 1,000 sensors and 1,000 modules and stuff. But we'll go through it, and I'll just kind of show you how I routed it. Maybe show you a trick or two on crimping and soldering and shrink tubing, and make it good, make it clean, make it efficient, make it reliable. So we'll kind of do that, and I'll give you a little walk around here and show you what we got going on first. All right, first of all, this is where it's coming out of your firewall into the fuse block. Now, this is pretty simple. You got one section here. It's going to your front headlights, etc. And you got this one over here that just goes to the engine. So it's going to be very simple, and we'll do a little walkthrough with it. All right, this again, it's part of the brake line. Come up through there. Everything is pretty much labeled on this, like right here, light section. So the whole section goes to the headlights. And if you keep working your way down, it's got a ground. It's even on the wires, labeled ground. They already got a ground connector on it. And then you have left headlamp, left turn signal, and then you got left marker light. I mean, it's all labeled everywhere you need to go. You're going to run it across the fender well, come across, and when you come across the front, I got this kind of setting out right now. You got your horns, which go in here on each side for your horns, and the passenger side is basically the same thing. Marker light, turn signal, headlamp, ground. About as easy as it gets. Now on this side, the engine compartment right here, and then it comes up, and you can route it however you want across your firewall. I haven't figured out how I want to do it yet. I don't know if I want to go under the steering column or like I got it just up and across. I'll have to get the steering column in, just really kind of see what's cleaner. Right here you got under your hood lamp, and then you got your wiper motor, and this right here, these extra wires in case you have a delay wiper motor, or if yours is like this, just high, low, whatever. And then you can go on over here to your distributor and your tachometer, and then your oil pressure switch right here. Now this is something that I had to crimp on myself, along with the tachometer and the power to the distributor. And like I said, because they give you extra so you can route it the way you want, just like the oil pressure switch. Some people have it rounded an oil restriction down here on the side. But this one had it up here, so we're just going to keep it up there. And then get over here on the passenger side. Then you got the power, this main harness coming across. And then you got your two larger wires here that split. One of them comes up to this fused power block. This is a fuse in between here, and then it comes back down and it goes to your solenoid. And the other one goes across, is for your alternator basically. So it just depends on how you want to route your alternator. Like on my 92, the alternator comes across the intake. I don't know if I want it that way. I might leave it down here with the starter wires and put it all into a heat shield or something, and then finish running my alternator wires along my oil pan with my transmission cooler lines once you get the radiator in, zip tie them all together, and then bring it up under the fuel pump and up here behind the alternator and give it a cleaner look. Obviously this alternator is not going on there. I just stuck it on there so I can kind of see how long I want them, the length, whatnot. So and that's really about it. And then you got your blower motor. Again, we put a heater delete box on this. It did have AC, or AC delete box, and we put the box on there, and the fan motor obviously is up here under the fender. But this is your power to your blower motor, and that's about it. It's really simple. You got your alternator, you got your starter, and you got your power running up to your fuse block. And of course, once I get the fender on, I'll have a power wire coming from the fender down to the starter as well. And then you got your temperature sensor right here. They give you extra here so you can mount it on this passenger side or over on the driver's side or wherever you want to mount your temperature sensor. And then that's it. That's all that's under the hood, really. So that's pretty easy stuff. And then going here, I kind of got this routed already going back, and it goes up, connects in, tucks in back here, and this is all for your tail lamps. And it goes in through the trunk and comes out right here at this garment. And again, it's all the stuff's already in and ready to just put bulbs in and put in your tail lamp. Plate, license plate, and it's all labeled. So pretty easy stuff. There's a ground that goes inside the. I got it back under the inside of the frame there. And then on the directions under the hood, they have everything set up to where you go left to right. Like right here, you have all your stuff for your seatbelt buzzard, your key buzzard, and all that stuff. And so I went ahead and you may buy new buzzards or whatnot, but I just kept the ones that I got on there. And you can see that everything is labeled. You got the ground, which connects over here to the body. You got your courtesy light. You have your panel light. Brake switch goes to the your brake pedal. There's the ground again. You have your power windows if you have power windows. This don't. This just has crank style windows. Right here's all your stuff that goes to your steering column. All the stuff that goes to your instrument panel. And then and it just works all the way across over to your glove box and to your door switch, which is right here. They give you new door switches. But this is on hold right now until we get the dash in. Until I figure out if I want to go with factory gauges or aftermarket gauges. And I'll do a whole video on that when we get to it. I'll do a whole video on that when we get to it. But it's all pretty easy. And the instruction manual, it just has everything step by step by step. Again, I'm not promoting anybody's product, but let me tell you, it's money well spent. It makes your life a whole lot easier. If you're not familiar with wiring, if you don't know what's heads or tails under your dash, they're expensive. Don't get me wrong. This one, like I said, nothing special. We got one so we can hook up a few extra accessories. It's basically factory. Most of the stuff was already hooked up, just plug and play. Like I said, you got to do a little bit of crimping, or oil switch, and figure out how you're going to run your alternator and stuff like that. And this thing was $900. So, but they give you everything that you need to complete the job. Light bulbs, the tail light bulbs, turn signal bulbs, everything. So, but that's kind of where we're at now on that. I don't know if you can see it or not. Front end's out from under. Excuse me. I'm waiting for a bushing kit. A whole front end suspension kit, really. Upper control arm bushing, lower control arm bushings, ball joints, inner outer tie rod ends. Get the front suspension on here. I cut some off the springs. We're going to go with the 2-inch drop. Now keep in mind, when you're cutting your springs, if you want a 2-inch drop, you just don't cut 2 inches off your spring. You got to consider that your spring is going to compress to the weight of the car, the engine, and everything in it. So if you want an actual 2-inch drop, you only take 1.5 inches off of the spring, because it's going to compress a 1/2 inch to the weight of the vehicle once you get it on there. So keep that in mind if you're wanting to get a little bit of a drop by cutting your spring down a little bit. And obviously, if you do that, you're going to have to readjust your camber and stuff like that in your caster or camber. But I'll do a video on that because, again, I think I mentioned it before on a video. We took all the bushings out and stuff, and I should have videoed it, but it was a little tricky. And we'll do some safety precautions on getting the bushings back in, because the way that these lower control arms are from the factory. So once you start pressing the bushing in this way, it's going to spread this inside one out. So we may find some way to put something in there to kind of keep this distance, or push it in and just kind of knock that back. We'll figure something out. And it may not even be an issue at all. It may just slide right in. So we'll kind of go with and see what happens with that. But as you can see, it's been painted. It's metallic blue pearl. I probably showed this on a previous video, but it's got a few blemishes in it already that I got to touch up, but it's not that big of a deal. So we're going to get that front suspension on it. Once I get that front suspension on it, then I can get the inner fender wells on, get the fenders mounted. I'm really kind of waiting to put the fenders on it until I get the steering column in, master or brake booster, master cylinder, finish getting these brake lines ran and everything, so I'm not working over the hood. It'd be a little bit of easier access. I gotta finish getting this these front bumper supports in and bolted in. And this side over here, I could probably go ahead and put the front fender on, because there's not a lot left to do over here. Just button up some loose ends. But after that, I can kind of start getting, after I get the brake booster and all that on this passenger side steering column, I can kind of start to, getting the front end reassembled and whatnot. And the outside of this body thing in the engine compartment will be pretty close to being wrapped up. Everything underneath is pretty much done. I'll probably have to go through it and just make sure all the brake fittings are tight, and then I'm sure I'll find brake leaks and stuff once we start bleeding brakes and all that. And that's when you really can go in and fix any brake leaks and just go over the whole thing and make sure it's all, you know, buttoned up and tight and not leaking. And I'll go through and make a list. I got to put some rear differential fluid in it, maybe a new cover. Touch up I got to get brakes all the way around it. I mean, just little stuff like that, which doesn't take long. Once you start getting all that stuff on and together and get the front end together, and I still got this nose I need to paint, but I don't want to paint the nose until I get the front fenders on and get the door gaps and everything lined up pretty close, because I want to fit this front fender, this aftermarket fender, because you just don't know about aftermarket parts. And we got it from Classic Industries, so they're pretty reputable, but you still want to get everything fitted. I don't want to paint this thing and have to pull off and on and off and on, you know, 4 or 5 times getting everything lined up and stuff, and then you're just taking a chance of scratching stuff and messing stuff up. So in fact, I might just go ahead and just mount the fender and tape the rest of the car off and just paint the nose of it, this whole front fascia, after it's already mounted. I haven't made my mind up yet. We'll see what happens. But there's a lot to do, but yet I feel like we're on the home stretch. One thing I want to try to do to the 92 before the spring is I want to get, and I did a video on this earlier, I mentioned it in my other video, I want to put a posi in it. Still have the 7.5-inch factory rear differential. I'm not going to spend the money for a 4.9-inch or whatever. I'm not taking it to a drag strip. It's a recreational car for me. I get on it every now and then, just to have a little fun. So the 7.5 is just going to do me fine. I just want to get a good Richmond gear in it, or, you know, a good stable stout gear, and get a good, you know, differential in it, and some new axles. I'll probably go from the 26 to a 30 spline. And I'll do a video on that, because I'm going to have to put all new seals and bearings and all that on there. So we'll do a good video on that and see if that helped you guys out. But I want you guys all to like and subscribe. Let me know what kind of video you want. And listen, I've been thinking a lot. I got, like I said, the video that I did of explaining how to go from TBI to Carb has got a lot of views. And I get a lot of questions, and I try to answer all the questions I can. But what I want to try to do, and I'm going to see if I can make it happen somehow, is I want to try to get a vehicle that we want to go from TBI to carburetor, and just do a video on it, actually doing it, not just me explaining it. You know, the video of tearing it down and taking the intake off and going through the wiring, and obviously it'll probably be this project will probably be in segments, but maybe it'll help you guys extremely, help you guys out a lot. And sorry, and maybe, like, you can see if I run into any problems, how to address them, and how to overcome them, and how to fix them, and how to, you know what I mean? So I want to try to find a vehicle. If I can find a donor, if I can find somebody around here that wants to do that and wants to supply all the parts and stuff, I'll supply the labor and the time and the video to do it for them, just so I can get a video shot, because I don't know if I'm really going to have the money to go out. If I can find one cheap enough, whether it be a car or a truck or whatever, I'd rather have a car, because it'll be easier to film than crawling in and out of the truck. But to do that in, and maybe, you know, flip it and sell it or whatever. But that's something that's on my mind. I think I might want to do, actually do a video of of transforming the TBI to a carb. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. If you'd like to see a video like that, and I can address questions and stuff, and and explain everything as I'm disassembling, as I'm prepping for reassembly and wiring and etc. and stuff like that. So all right, so hit like, subscribe, tell all your friends, hit the notification button. Every time I got something coming up, you'll know about it. And let's get going. It's 2023. Let's get this car going. Let's get the rear end of the 92. Let's see if I can find a donor car to do a TBI, to carb swap. And who knows what else is coming along. I got a guy at work. It's got a, I don't know, I think it's 2013 Chevy. He wants me to paint the whole thing. It's like a green with big old flakes in it, big metallic. It's got some rust and stuff on it. And maybe do some videos on that if he hasn't changed his mind. So, and I want to do a video on. I had a guy message me the other day about some carburetor questions and stuff. And I got an old Holly here. I think I'll do a little video on. I'll take the bowl off and explain the bowl and the needle, how to adjust it, your jets, your power valve, and how all that stuff works in conjunction with each other, and where the fuel's coming from wide open throttle. And because the question was basically one of the concerns was, even with the fuel regulator, like on the 92, set at 8 pounds or 9 pounds, if it's not flooding out the carburetor sitting there at an idle. And if it's not, then how is the carburetor at wide open throttle not starving? So I answered a few of them questions for him, and basically your float and your needle controls the fuel coming into your carburetor. So you can set your pressure regulator at what your carburetor is recommended at, like 7-8 pounds for a Holly, and you're going to have a consistent 7-8 pounds going to that carburetor. But your float and your needle is what keeps the fuel from coming in. Now, once that fuel starts to drop, the float drops, opens the needle, and the fuel comes in and resupplies the bowl with fuel. Now, if you start getting into wide open throttle, and you're in a lot of wide open throttle, and you're draining that bowl, and you're starting to starve the carburetor, then you got what's called a power valve too, and the power valve will open and supply more fuel to your secondaries and stuff like that. So, and then you can change jets to more efficiency out of your carburetor. And like the 92, it would idle and everything good. And even when I went to wide open throttle slow, it did okay. But when I went to open it up, it would just fall on its face. So I put bigger jets in it. I went four sizes bigger on jets, took care of it a little bit. I can go to wide open throttle a little faster, but still, when I kicked that throttle open, it would still stumble. So I went to bigger squirters. I went to, I think I went 3 sizes bigger on squirters. Took care of the problem. I can get out there and I can just, at an idle, throw that thing to the floor and it would just not even stumble, and it just smoked the tires. So there's a lot of different ways you can adjust your Holly and fine tune it and get your air fuel mixture right and all that, and make that carburetor work for you. So, and I just like them. I just think they're easier to tune. You can just take the bowl off. You take the bowl off, and then you got everything right there that you need to adjust. And they got some now to where your secondary spring, if it's a vacuum, not a mechanical, you can take the top off, like a lot of the quick fuels and like the brawlers are like that. You can just take the screws off the top, change the spring, go to a softer spring so your secondaries will open a little bit faster, at a wide open throttle, and you don't have such a stiff spring. And so I went with a lighter spring for my secondaries. So there's a lot of things that you can do, but I think it'll be a good video. Just take the whole thing apart, explain, you know, you got your power block there. It has all your jets and stuff in it. You can pull that power block off, and then you got your power valve back in behind that and stuff like that. So I think that'll be a good video. But like, subscribe, tell your buddies. Let's get this channel going. Let's get the views up. Let's get the subscriptions up, and see what we can make happen. Talk to you guys later.